Hi everybody, thank you for joining me on this little video. This is just going to be my thoughts on the upcoming John Lennon Power to the People deluxe box set and the other versions of it that are coming out. There is also a 4 LP set, a 2 LP set, a 2 CD set and a 1 CD set. Now I thought when this was announced that this was going to be the one-to-one concerts. I thought that's all it would be the one-to-one concerts, you know, remastered, restored, and then there'd probably be a Blu-ray or a DVD of the actual concerts. But there was 2 concerts, weren't there? There was an afternoon concert and an evening concert. Now this LP that came out in 1986, John Lennon Live in New York City, is what you would now call a hybrid, because this has got songs from both the concerts, although it doesn't tell you which songs come from which concert, if that makes sense. So, you know, I was really looking forward to this. Now, I have seen a couple of videos on YouTube by other Beatles channels and other YouTubers. Now, there is a little bit of controversy over this box set. Some people are saying they are adamant they're not going to buy any of these because of the omission of one song. I'm not going to pass judgment just yet. I will go into it in a little bit of detail. Right, so it's the Power to the People, John and Yoko with the Plastic Ono Band, Elephant's Memory and special guests, live at the one-to-one concert, New York City in 1972. Now you do not get the full concert. You only get the concert bits where it was John Lennon. You know, the concert was a big affair. You got Stevie Wonder, I think Roberta Flack was on it as well. You don't get them. You only get the bit with John Yoko, Elephant's Memory. So, you know, it's the most probably interesting bits to as Beatles fans or, you know, a John Lennon fan. So when it said a 9 CD box set, I was quite intrigued. So you get 9 CDs, 3 Blu-rays, a 240 page hardback book, which sounds quite nice, newsprint poster, 2 postcards, 12 stickers, 2 replica tickets, backstage pass and afternoon pass. I'm sorry I'm having to read this. I'm reading the thing off the John Lennon site, which is basically telling you what it is. So it does sound really good, but why is it 9 CDs? Well, you've got a CD of the afternoon show and you've got a CD of the evening show. Then you've got a hybrid, which is a mixture of both those shows. Then you've got a remixed and remastered version of Sometime in New York City, although on here it's just called New York City. And then you've got, you know, odds and sods from around 1971, 1972. You know, John singing most of the songs that was on the Sometime in New York City LP on shows in America. Sometimes they're live and sometimes they're not. So it does sound quite an intriguing box set. It's not cheap though. It isn't cheap. Will I be buying this? To be honest, I don't know. Now the song that is not on this, it's not on any of these, whether you get the CDs, the LPs, whatever, and it's not a hidden track. Some people are saying it could be a hidden track. Now on the johnlennon.com it does say there is no hidden tracks on any of these things. So the song is Woman is the of the World, so I don't have to tell you what it is. Now what's got me is, why has it suddenly been taken out the history of John Lennon's music? The word, which I'm not going to say, yes, it is offensive, but is it any more offensive now than it was in 1972? And if you actually bother to read the lyrics, John doesn't actually say that. He's saying, woman is the slave to the slaves. You know, so, you know, you might be but a woman is going to be underneath you. It was his like thing for women's rights, wasn't it? Now, every song which is on Sometime in New York City is controversial. In one way or another, every song, or basically every song on it, is controversial. Yes, there is the Woman of the World. There's Angela. There's Sisters, Oh Sisters. There is John Sinclair, Sunday Bloody Sunday. I mean, that's about the IRA, so you know, is he sympathising with the IRA? He's just, I know what he was doing. He was doing it as a newspaper, which is what this is meant to look like. So you know, getting rid of one song because it might offend people today is taking it out of context to me as to when it was recorded and released. Now, is that song essential to this album, Sometime in New York City? Well, I would say it is probably, yeah. I'm not saying it's the best song John ever wrote, because it's not. I don't think any of these songs are particularly brilliant. You know, there's some that I like better than others, don't get me wrong. There's nothing I would say is horrible or rubbish, but it's not one of John's better albums. It was his political album. You know, this is John with his heart on his sleeve sort of thing. Not necessarily preaching, but telling people what he was seeing in the world at that time. God knows what he'd be singing about if he was alive today. That's all I'll say on that one. So it just makes me think, now, taking it off this box set, is that a deal breaker for me? Probably not. The thing that I'm worried about is if you're going to start taking songs off albums because they might offend somebody, where's it going to end? For instance, Maxwell Silver Hammer on Abbey Road is about somebody that kills people with a hammer. So will future versions of Abbey Road not have that on it? You've got Run for Your Life on Rubber Soul. I'd rather see your dead little girl than to be with a little man. Another man, sorry. Rather see a dead little girl than to be with another man. Is that going to be suddenly off all future pressings of Rubber Soul? See what I'm saying? Happy Christmas, War is Over. Will that be banned because it might offend people that don't celebrate Christmas? You see what I'm saying? If it's all took out of context, virtually every song could be wiped from history. You know, a song's a song. You know, if you don't like it, don't listen to it. Now, the daft thing is, as I'm recording this, you can still listen to this song on Spotify and other streaming devices. So, although everybody's saying, you know, about this song, that isn't the most important song on the Sometime in New York City album, and it wasn't the most important song that John played on the one-to-one concerts, was it? In all honesty, let's be right. It was what he was recording at that time. So if you're taking this box set as a snapshot of John at that time, then yes, it should be included, in my opinion. And as I say, it is just my opinion. So yeah, so you know, it was on that. It was actually a single in America, wasn't it? It was the lead single off Sometime in New York City. It got very, very close to being a single in the UK and was pulled at the last minute, although I don't think it was to do with the title of the song. I think it was just they couldn't get it out in time. So it was good enough to be on the original Sometime in New York City album. Alright, so that's fair enough. It was also good enough to be on the John Lennon Live in New York City album, which is basically the one-to-one concerts. But yes, this is going to sound very, very inferior, I'm sure, to the new mixes and everything. But it was still on this in 1986. And it was even on the 1975 album Shaved Fish compilation album. So why, you know, if it was good enough to be on all these albums, and it's been on other compilations as well, why now is it being erased from history? You might have your opinions on to why. I'm not condoning it and I'm not condemning it, but if you want to know what John was doing in 1972, which I think this box set is all about, you know, his work in 1972, you've got to remember that time he was very political. He was, you know, trying to get civil rights and everything like that. You know, to cut a song off, I don't know, I can't understand it. I could understand it if they put like a disclaimer on it saying something like they've started to do with some of the TV programmes in the UK, that it'll say something like this material was recorded at a time where opinions were different to what they are now. You know, that would have made more sense to me, but then again, you know. So I don't know. I really do not know. You know, you've got, out of the 9 CDs, by the way, you've got the afternoon concert, the evening concert, then you've got a hybrid concert, then the New York City, Sometime in New York City CDs aren't actually called that, they're just called Sometime in New York City. Then there's some unreleased tracks, some live tracks and other things like that. So it does sound like it is a very, very fascinating box set. But like I say, it's quite expensive. But then, if you're saying what you get in it, it probably isn't. But I'm I'm more disappointed that the Blu-rays aren't actual Blu-rays that have got footage of the concert, or the, you know, the TV appearances where he did like Look of the Irish and Sisters Oh Sisters and things like that. That would have made this box set probably a little bit more appealing to me as a, you know, John Lennon fan. So you get that. You also get a 4 LP set, which is just the afternoon concert and the evening concert, from what I can make out. Then there's a 2 LP set, which I think is the hybrid one, where they've got the, you know, the 2 concerts mixed together, which is like what they did in Sometime in New York City, which is that one. Then you've got a 2 CD set, and then you've got a 1 CD set, and then you've got like a greyy marbly effect 2 LP set, which again I think is just like songs from the afternoon and the evening concert mixed together. They're all different prices. I'm not going to go into the prices. If you want any more information on these sort of things, just look at other people's videos. I'm just giving you my opinion. The LPs, by the way, are all 180 gram audiophile quality vinyl, it says on here. The 2 LP set, which is exclusive to the John Lennon site, is a transparent green, it says on here, but it didn't look green when I've just looked. Yeah, so John Lennon, 1972. This is what John said. That Madison Square Garden gig was the best music I enjoyed playing since the Cavern or even Hamburg. It was just the same kind of feeling when the Beatles used to really get into it, and you can understand that. It was John being John, wasn't it? Funnily enough, I tend to remember the times before the Beatles happened most of all, like in Hamburg. We used to do this at the Cavern, we used to do that in Hamburg and the ballrooms and things like that. Just going back to where, you know, his love of performing live. You've got to remember when this concert took place in 1972, John hadn't really done a lot of live appearances since the Beatles stopped touring in 1966. Yes, he did the live piece for Toronto, and he'd done the odd sort of like guest appearance and things like that, but not a whole show. The other interesting thing is a lot of the Yoko stuff has been edited out of the live things as well, from what I can make out. On the New York City CDs, which I really would like to listen to see what Sean's done with them. You know, it's just a shame they had to take a song off. Like I said, they should have just put a warning on it, like they used to, didn't they, if they swear. Like, you can swear like hell now in a single or a song. Nothing. You know, why are people trying to like rewrite history? Yeah, on here John says, apparently, I was ready to go on the road in 1972 just for pure fun. I didn't want to go on the road for money. I was standing up in the Apollo with a guitar at the Africa Relatives benefit, and on the stage at the John Sinclair rally. Yes, he was, which are those songs are on some of those 9 CDs in the box set, by the way. Where was I? I felt like going on the road and playing music, and whatever excuse, charity or whatever, would have done me, but they kept pulling me back into court, a direct result of my immigration thing. I wanted to go back and rock my balls off on stage. See, that's controversial what it's saying there, isn't it? You can't keep a good band down. And I think, you know, judging by the footage I can remember seeing, I think John did enjoy doing this one-to-one thing, didn't he? And it was for a benefit for children with special needs, as we'd call it now. And I think the concert made over £2 million or $2 million. I think that's right. If I am wrong, I will apologise. So there's two shows. There's an afternoon and an evening show, and they were held on August the 30th, 1972 at Madison Square Gardens. And that's really all you need to go. No. Oh, go on now. You know, if you just want it as a piece of history, which most of the box sets are nowadays, aren't they? Then it should be complete, I think. Taking one song out of it, in case it offends somebody, doesn't really alter the fact that he still made the song, does it? So, I don't know. I don't really understand why it's happened. I'm sure there's a lot of people that can give you reasons why it has. There's lots of people that can give you reasons why it shouldn't have been took off. I'm just giving your opinion as a fan of John Lennon, a Beatles fanatic, and you know, if you want something complete, then surely everything that was recorded for that thing that you're trying to say is complete should be there. Why have they called it Power to the People is the other thing. Why have they called this Power to the People? Why haven't they called it the one-to-one concerts plus? You know, that to me doesn't make sense, because the Power to the People that you actually hear at the beginning of this, and as on the live John Lennon Live New York City 1972, is not a live recording. It's the single, isn't it, played over the PA. One other interesting fact, when I think about it, on Shaved Fish, you get an edited version of Give Peace a Chance, don't you, at the beginning, and then you get a reprise at the end. The reprise at the end was actually recorded at these concerts. So that's another interesting fact, or boring fact. Yeah, am I going to buy any of these? I honestly don't know. I think if I'd got the money, I would buy, hey up Bailey, I would buy the CD box set, or I would get the 4 LP version. It looks like there is some nice memorabilia and things with it. It's up to you. I'm not endorsed by the John Lennon Estate, Universal Music, or any other retail outlet to put, you know, to say go out and buy it. If you want to buy it, you're going to go and buy it, aren't you? And personally, I don't think a proper fan, they might want to protest by saying they're not going to buy it, or they're not going to buy the most expensive version of it, but I think a lot of people will still buy it. I think it has shaded this release a little bit, and it's something that didn't really need to be done. Again, that's in my opinion. You know, they could have just put a stick on it saying parental guidance, or, you know, certain parts of this box set may offend people, or, you know, that's all I've got to do. You haven't got to try and write a song out of history, are you? Like I said, I was really looking forward to this, and it, to me, it has, all the controversy that's been going on about this has tarnished it a little bit for me. And we haven't even heard any of the songs yet, have we? I've seen a clip it have come together. I must admit, I've seen a clip of that which on YouTube, and if it sounds good as that, well done, Sean. That's all I'll say. You know, I think Sean was put in a bit of a position that I don't think he really knew what to do. Or was it just Universal Music putting pressure on him? I don't know. I honestly don't know. So if you're going to buy it, you're going to buy it, and if you're not going to buy it, you're not going to buy it. Simple, isn't it? But the people that the song might, that this certain song might offend, probably wouldn't have gone out and bought this anyway, because they're probably not John Lennon fans. So taking it off doesn't really make any sense to me. You know, and that's all I can say on it, folks. That is really all I can say on it. There is a lot more in-depth videos than this one. I just thought I'd get mine out while it's still fresh in my head, basically. I couldn't do it before now because I've been working, so I do apologise. I still think I will get something to do with this box set sooner or later. Like I say, if I'd got the money, I would probably go for the CD box set with everything that's in with it. If not, I will just get probably the double album or the 4 LP set. I don't know. I really don't know at this precise point. Taking the song off it hasn't made me not want to buy it, if that makes sense. You know, what's that other song that the Beatles did? I used to be cruel to my woman, I beat her and kept her apart from the things that she needs. It's getting better. You know, so, you know, if you're taking songs out of context, there's quite a few things that could be, you know, tried to be written out of history in case they offend somebody. I mean, what about I wish it could be Christmas every day? You know, if you don't celebrate Christmas, is that offensive to you? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not saying it's wrong. You know, if I can understand some things do offend people, but what gets me is if it's taken out of context. And I think in this case, as far as I can understand it and make sense of it, it has been taken out of context. You're trying to say this is the John Lennon 1972 recording sessions, basically, aren't you? Or you know, the year of 1972. And if there's a single that was good enough to be, if there's a song that was good enough to be released as a single in America, and has now been written out of that bit, that's the bit that doesn't make sense to me. Whether it's offensive or not, and it probably is offensive to people. I'm not saying it's not offensive, but is it any more offensive now than what it was in 1972 or 1975 or 1986 or what's going to be in another 10 years? But I know there's some purists saying they're not going to buy this, they're not going to buy any of it whatsoever. But the strange thing is, like I said, on streaming devices you can still listen to this, so maybe it's the song might get to #1 or something daft like that, or very, very high in the charts. You don't know, do you, folks? Stranger things have happened. Anyway, that's my little video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've tried to make as much sense of it as I can as a fan, but I still think it's a fantastic box set, by the way. Looking at everything you get in it, it's just knowing which version of it I'm going to buy. I would like the CD bit box set with everything in it. Whether I'll be able to afford it, I don't know. Anyway, remember, you are the Beatle Dave. I love you all. Whatever you're doing, please stay safe. So until the next time, peace, love and happiness to you all. Make your own mind up whether you're going to buy this box set or not. Don't be swayed by anybody. That's all I'll say. If you want it, you want it. If you don't, you don't. Simple, innit, folks, really. Okay, till the next time. It's Beatle Dave. Love to you all.